Ladies and gentlemen, Damen und Herren, hello. This is Jeffrey speaking to us, and first and foremost, I'm really glad that we are able to have yet again another session that I have prepared for us today. For those who don't know me, once again, this is Lehrer Fred speaking to us, and in this live, I have scheduled for us to actually go through the Teil 1 of your A1 Sprechen, specifically the Goethe-Zertifikat. All right. This is going to be in coverage of the Goethe-Zertifikat Teil 1. All right, the Sich Vorstellen. Now, I know that those of you who are planning to sit their A1 pretty soon, right? So this is going to be in coverage to that part number 1, whereby you're going to be doing the full introduction. All right. Now, in some video, I had mentioned to us that the Sprechen is divided into 3 parts, right? So this is going to be focusing on the Teil 1, which is the Sich Vorstellen. All right. So normally, you will be given a card which will contain the following couple of words. All right. Now, these are the words that your card are going to entail. Let's copy them down. Now, they will need these details. Number 1, I will need your Name. Okay. And then I will also need your Alter. Name, Alter. Then we will need your Land. Now, of course, you could use land or Heimatland. Okay, Name, Alter, Land. And then they would also need your Wohnort. Wohnort. That will also be required. How about that one which is Sprachen? Sprachen. Okay. And then we will also, so Name, Alter, Land, Wohnort, Sprachen. Which other info? Okay, they will also need you to provide the hobby. We will also need your hobby. All right, and then the last detail we'll need is the Beruf. Beruf. So this is not the particular order it might come. It will depend with the paper you will be given, right? So these are the information that we will need in this particular part, right? So Name is simply your name, Alter. Now this is the age, Alter, age, Land. This is the country. You will state to us where do you come from, all right? Wohnort, the residence where you stay. All right. Sprachen, this refers to languages, the languages that you speak. Sprachen. All right. Hobby, Beruf. Beruf now is your profession or even job. This is now your profession or your job. Okay, so these are the information they will need in this particular part. So let's go ahead and see how to answer each and every one of these details. Okay, we'll begin with the first one, Name. How do you state your Name? There are 3 basic ways that one could use in stating their Name, right? So how do I state my Name? There are 3 ways. So the very first method I could use to say my name, the first way you could say is mein Name. Mein Name. Now kindly note, nouns should always be in capital. All right. If I put it with a small n, that would be incorrect and you would miss the marks. All right. So mein Name ist. Mein Name ist, and then you state for us what your name is. Besides saying mein Name ist, go ahead and say ich bin. So the second way, just say ich bin, and then you say. So mein Name ist, my name is, or ich bin, I am. All right. Now the third way, you could also say your name is ich heiße Ich heiße, and then you say. So these are the three ways you could use in stating your name. Either you say, mein Name ist, my name is, ich bin, I am, or even, ich heiße, I am called. Okay? Now, you might choose to go into particulars, like, for example, first name. So the first name or the English name, we now refer to it as Vorname. All right? Vorname. And then the family name, which is now referred to as Familienname. Familienname. That's the family name, right? This one is the same as Nachname. You can either call it Familienname or Nachname. All right? etc. So these are the names they would ask you for. So, anyways, you've now seen how to say your name. Now, how about alter? How do you state your age? How do you state your age? Let's go ahead. Guys, I believe you're copying down. Go ahead and copy. Please, as you're copying down, ensure that the nouns always begin with a capital letter. When they'll be marking your schreiben, they'll be very careful, or they'll be very petty to see the issue of capital and small letters. Be careful there. So, alter, age. How do you state your age? Now, you simply say, Ich bin, okay, ich bin, and then you state the number, and then, of course, Jahre. The Jahre should be capital J. Jahre, at the end, alt. Ich bin, and then the age, then Jahre alt. I am dash 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 years old. Now you can check the Jahre should be capital J. Nouns are always going to be written beginning with a capital. If in case I put a small j like this, Jahre, this is going to be incorrect because nouns should always begin in capital. So, ich bin, for example, 27 Jahre alt. Okay, so that is your alter age. The next info they would need now is land. So you've seen Name, you've seen alter. Now, how about land? How do you state where you come from? Now, there are two names they would use. Either we would use land, or we might also use Heimatland. It is possible for you to use land or even Heimatland. All right. Hello to you to Abdullah Tif. Willkommen, yeah? So, land or Heimatland, the country where you come from. All right. So here we simply use the verb kommen. So you just say, Ich komme. Okay. Ich komme aus, and then state for us where your country is. Ich komme aus, and then you state what your country is. Ich komme aus Kenia, ich komme aus Uganda, ich komme aus Deutschland, etc., right? So that is on land. This is the country. Now, after that is over, the following detail is going to be on Wohnort, residence, Wohnort, residence. I can see Suhani says aus Indien. Willkommen. That is Suhani all the way from Indian. Asha Abdullah. Asha said, okay. Hi to you too. Willkommen, yeah. All right then. Now there's this other one, Wohnort. Now how do I state the Wohnort? Remember, this is residence. All right. Wohnort. Now we simply want to know, where do you stay? Now, when stating Wohnort, there are two verbs you could use. There are two verbs you could use here, right? Either you would use the verb leben, all right? You could use the verb leben, or alternatively, one could also use the verb wohnen. Leben or even wohnen, both of which mean to live. Okay? Leben or wohnen. Now, guys, be careful. Don't confuse Leben and Lieben. This is Leben. Now, people confuse it with this word here. Lieben. This is different. This is to love. Be careful the same, yeah? So, Leben or wohnen, this is now to live. But lieben, this is to love. All right? So, I live in. The statement you should now use. Go ahead and say, ich lebe. Ich lebe, or alternatively, wohne. Ich lebe or wohne in, and then you would state. Go ahead and state where you stay. So either you say, ich lebe in Deutschland. Ich lebe in Kisumu. Ich wohne in, both of which would apply, right? I can see there's someone saying all the way from Deutschland. That is, who? Kabel von Deutschland? Ja, ich spreche Deutsch. So, ich lebe in or ich wohne in. And then you would state the place that you live in. Okay? So, that is on Wohnort. You've now seen Name, you've seen Alter, you've seen Land, Wohnort, we've just seen. Okay, let's go ahead and also mention about Sprachen. Now, this is the place where many people make mistakes. Sprachen. Let's see where the issue is. Sprachen. Now, there are two words right here. Okay, let's copy it down. Now, I'm talking about Sprachen, which now means languages. Languages. So people normally confuse these two words. Let's copy them down. There is the verb. Notice this one is small s. Sprechen. Small s. A verb, right? Sprechen. This is to speak. Okay. Sprechen. Now that means to speak. All right. But the noun is a capital S, which is now Sprache. Kind note. Suhani, ich wohne in Österreich. Sehr schön, das freut mich zu hören. So, sprechen, to speak. Sprache, capital S. This one is the one that in plural is when you would add an N in plural. All right. So this Sprache, this one means language. Language. Right? Look at the two. So there is sprechen, which is to speak, and then Sprache. In plural is when you add an N. Sprachen. Now this means language. You see, this is a verb, therefore normally it is small s, but this one is a noun, always to be written beginning with a capital S. Okay, so please don't confuse the two. Okay, so this Sprache is normally combined with the other words. You see the word Sprache? It is normally combined. It is a feminine noun. It is die. Die Sprache. All right, so you will have it combined with the other words, like, for example, we have die Mutter Sprache. Look at that. Die Muttersprache. Sometimes we also have die Fremdsprache. And so on and so forth. Yeah? Muttersprache, mother tongue. Fremdsprache, foreign language, and so on and so forth. Right? So, anyways, which languages do you speak? How would you say, I speak, brr, and then you state the languages. Simply go ahead and say, ich spreche. Don't say Sprache. Ich spreche, and then you would mention all the languages you speak. Zum Beispiel, ich spreche Deutsch, Englisch, Swahili und meine Muttersprache Luo. Right? Go ahead and share below. Which languages do you personally speak, that is fluently? You would say, ich spreche, and then you mention them. There are those of you who speak Französisch, Spanisch, right? Chinesisch, Indianisch und so weiter. All right, etc, etc. That is how you state the languages you speak. Go ahead and share below which languages do you personally speak. Now, besides mentioning this phrase, now you could go ahead and be specific so that you use some description words, adjectives, things like fließend. All right, now this ones you could use when you want to describe the depth of the particular language you speak. Fließend, which now means fluent. Fließend, this is now fluent. Okay, fließend, fluent. Now there's other one, which is now gut. You could simply use gut, which is now well. Right? Ich spreche gut Deutsch. Ich spreche gut. Right? I speak good. I speak well. Good, which is now good or even well. All right. Now you could also use verbs like schlecht. Schlecht. Mein Englisch ist gut. Mein Englisch ist schlecht. My English is bad. Schlecht, this now means bad. This you could use in describing the depth of the particular language you speak. Yeah? Mein Deutsch ist fließend. Mein Deutsch ist gut oder nicht gut. All right, etc, etc. So, that is on Sprachen, languages. Let's go ahead and see the two remaining. Now I have hobby. Now, when talking about hobby also, it will depend on whether you're talking about one hobby or more than one hobby. Let's see. When mentioning the hobbies, it will also depend on whether you're talking about one hobby or more than one hobby. So, if it's one hobby I want to talk to you about, I'll just say, my hobby is, that is, mein Hobby, mein Hobby ist, if it's only one, right? Mein Hobby ist, that is, if I'm only going to say one hobby. For example, I could say, my hobby is dancing. So, mein Hobby ist tanzen, if it's one. Okay? But if you're not going to tell somebody two or more hobbies, you're not going to tell somebody two or even more hobbies, you would now change and add some endings so that you would say, meine, look at that, from mine to meine. Meine Hobbys, meine Hobbys sind. Kind note. If it's one, mein Hobby ist. If it's one, right? But if it's now two or even more, now you would say, meine Hobbys sind. All right? So maybe I want to say dancing and singing. Tanzen und singen. Do you now see the difference? So one, mein Hobby ist tanzen. Two, meine Hobbys sind tanzen und singen. Okay, so that is now under your hobby. Guys, what are your hobbies? Go ahead and also share below. As you express the hobbies, please ensure that they begin with a capital letter, right? Tanzen, singen, kochen, etc, etc. Go ahead and share below what your particular hobbies are. Please ensure that you begin with capital, okay? All right then, so the last one remaining is now on Beruf. Beruf, profession. I will either use the word Beruf or job. All right, Beruf or even job, or lastly, Arbeit. All right. Oh, I forgot to ask us at the beginning, guys, which level are you currently in? Are you in A1, A2, B1, B2? Feel free to share below. So I will either use the word Beruf or job or Arbeit. they are all used to mean the same thing. Beruf, job, or even Arbeit. All right. So let's see the three ways that you could state your profession. All right. So the very first way, you want to say, I am dash, 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 dash. So the very first way, simply say, ich, all right, ich bin, that's the very first one, yeah? Ich bin dash von Beruf. Ich bin, and then you state, and then at the end, von Beruf, by profession. I can see somebody has given an example. That is Janice with J. Say, mein Beruf ist Optikerin. Now you put an K-E, yeah? Optikerin. That is from J, Janice with J. Mein Beruf, please put the B capital, right? Ist Optikerin. All right, so, ich bin dash von Beruf. Remember the nouns should be capital, right? Or, now I'm putting this in bracket because I could add it or remove. I could just say, ich bin Student, ich bin Student. Ich bin Lehrer. Or, ich bin Lehrer von Beruf. All right? I am a teacher by profession. Okay? Now, besides saying this, ich bin, someone say, mein Beruf ist. The other one I've seen somebody use in the comment, mein Beruf ist dash. My profession is. Now, the other one you can also say, I work as. Ich arbeite. So, you can also say, ich arbeite als. Ich arbeite als. Alright, so this is some of the ways you could say. Ich bin dash von Beruf. Mein Beruf ist. Or ich arbeite als. I work as a. And then you state the profession. Now, of course, there's so many various types of professions. Let's just list some few. Go ahead and state in the comment section below, what are you by profession? Now, you're going to realize that mostly in German, for the feminine, they tend to add the ending in, right? Lehrer, Lehrerin. Let's mention some few. For example, I have Optiker. I'm picking from the comments. Optiker, male. So female, you add in. Optikerin. All right. Now you have Arzt. Arzt, male. Now for the female, it adds an umlaut on the E. All right. And then the ending in. Ärztin. Arzt now has an umlaut, becomes Ärztin. All right. Any other you know? Go ahead and share below. Which other profession do you know? Now, it is not all of them which will add in. They're those which would behave irregularly. All right. Most of them would add an in, but there are those which would behave irregularly, right? Maybe I have Lehrer. Lehrer, so female, Lehrerin. Optiker, Optikerin, Pilot. Now you add Pilotin. All right, I would add one here. Anwalt, lawyer. Anwalt, which now becomes Anwältin. Anwalt now becomes Anwältin. That's a familiar etc, right? So anyways, guys, that is how you will get to fully introduce yourself. As you conclude, let me give a full intro of myself, and then I'd like you to also go ahead and fully introduce yourself. You will share below, right? So you simply say, mein Name ist Frederik Onyaro Ouma. Ich bin 28 Jahre alt. Ich komme aus Kenia und ich wohne in Kisumu. Ich spreche Deutsch, Englisch, Swahili und auch meine Muttersprache Luo. Meine Hobbys sind Tanzen, Singen und Musik hören. Then ich bin Lehrer von Beruf. And basically, that is how one gets to fully introduce themselves, right? So, guys, please go ahead and attempt introducing yourself, and I will see you in the next live. Tschüss und gute Nacht.